Deep is here to give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to Liberians what belongs to Liberians. What a pleasant way to begin the show this evening. This is the Deep National Hour. Deep is the Democracy and Empowerment for Economic Progress. DEEP is a civil rights nationalistic organization propagating the true sense of nationalism and the call to national duties. Again, I'm Dr. Abraham Dassama the first. I'm the executive director of the Democracy and Empowerment for Economic Progress. You can follow us up on our page. That is the DEEP DEEP National Hour Facebook page. You can just go there right now. There's John, and we'll highly appreciate for you to subscribe to also be a member of this initiative. So we say just go to DEEP DEEP National Hour. That is the Democracy and Empowerment for Economic Progress. DEEP. You will see the caption that Liberia is gradually becoming an autocratic country. We have a lot of things we'll be discussing. As you may be aware, the pillars of DEEP is to ensure that jobs for Liberians are given to Liberians. Contract businesses, the liberalization policy be adhered to. We have been advocating these things for years past, and during current leadership, we are still being in it. So again, you can just follow us up on Deep National Hour. That is the DEEP National Hour Facebook page. We'll highly appreciate for you to follow us up on that page. Okay, so we say DEEP is a civil rights nationalistic organization propagating the true sense of nationalism and the call to national duties. Deep goal is to Liberianize Liberia and ensure Liberia becomes an industrialized state with its citizens being economically empowered. This will require a certain level of leadership for us to achieve these things, irrespective of their status, their tribe, educational background. So you can follow us again, as I said, on the Deep National Hour Facebook page. You can also get in contact with us on the various numbers. That is the 0776 237 633. 0776 237 633 and 088. That is 0888 975 038. Okay, so we say that Deep was wants to see Liberia a Liberia of opportunities for Liberians. That's why we always preach about the issue of the liberalization laws. We talk about the issue of giving 80% senior managerial jobs to Liberians. We'll start that particular campaign again comes 2025 as we go through the process. We want to see a land where the rule of law is adhered to by all officials of government and the citizenry while acknowledging the Constitution as a blessing. Okay, so we will be going deep into a lot of things that we need to follow up on. So you can just go to our page. That is the Deep National Hour, the Deep National Hour page. You can go to it as we begin this process. So we say Deep was set into motion as an action-based nationalistic organization to ensure that Liberia becomes a great nation and proves itself as God-blessed nation in Africa through deep nationalistic activities. So Deep want all Liberians to stand up to their national duties. So it is important for us to understand what who we are and what are those things require of us as Liberians. Now, let's go to our content. We say Liberia is gradually discerning into an authoritarian or autocratic country. It means talking about the issue of tyrannic practices, autocracy. The preamble of the Liberian Constitution provides that it is our right to form a government for the purpose of creating an environment conducive for us to have harmony, peace, the rule of law, opportunities for Liberians. But on the contrary, there are lots of questions concerning government adherence to the rule of law and good governance. For the past about 10 to 11 months now, talking about, there are lots of questions based on the unfolding in this country, how government conduct itself. It have proven that we need to revisit and ask these questions and see what can make sense or analysis whether the Joseph Numa-led government is adhering to the rule of law and good governance. There are terrible indicators that point to tyranny. A lot of terrible indicators that we'll be looking at, and I know many of you will be looking at those things come next year when you be evaluating the first year of Joseph Numa presidency. These terrible indicators put this country at disadvantage in interacting with the locals, the main citizens themselves, and then also how the international body sees this country. If we want to look at some of the indicators that point to the fact that tyranny is being practiced by this current government led by President Joseph Numa, you look at issues like the law on tenure. The law on tenure position has been circumvented, meaning that this government have chosen to downplay the rule of law. Whenever the law is being circumvented for a personal interest, what comes to mind is whether the person who is doing this want to be a tyrant or an autocrat. This government, through our own analysis, will be able to identify whether the issue of adherence to laws is a part of the DNA of this government, or the government is giving all those terrible indicators that will point to the fact that we are heading in a very bad direction. Government workers were illegally dismissed and could not get redress. That is another terrible indicator on this administration. Protesters been beaten. One of the most popular discussion now that had to do with the House Speaker criminally being removed. It's not legal. It's criminally done. And looking at the national budget procedure being contravened. There are lots of different things. So if you look at the current budget, you will see that where it is directed, where it came from, and all the processes that were institutionalized were all illegal, simply because the government tolerates it. And this has an overspread effect on every person, everybody in this country. Currently, there are lots of questions to be asked concerning what unfolding at this house, the House of Representatives. If we should be more academic in our analysis, we will start asking questions like why the procedure for the removal of the speaker was circumvented. Why was it circumvented? That's the question. You can circumvent laws. Number two, you say why the Supreme Court chose to use legal ambiguity to settle a highly contentious and legalistic legislative matter. Whenever you speak about legal ambiguity, it means that you give a ruling that does not give a one-way shot. Instead, it gives you many different interpretations. And with that, it brings chaos. Because if two persons went for justice and at the end of the day, the ruling cannot determine clearly who takes the day, it means that the both party leaves from there claiming that they have successfully won the case. And that is what unfolding today. The so-called majority group and the speaker group. Both parties are claiming victory from the ruling. That is the effect of legal ambiguity. It does not give clear-cut answer or solution to a given problem. And I don't know, at this dispensation, why would the Supreme Court choose to employ legal ambiguity in its ruling? And we have called that the Supreme Court comes back and make the clarity so that it can be a learning process for the entire country. So that whoever tries to do that will know that they're doing it in the right direction or they are doing it in the wrong direction. Unfortunately for our country, we do not see it this way. Okay? So in our analysis, we're trying to see how well we can put this particular thing and see where this government is going. The third question we'll be asking ourselves is, why were any protester beating? And who is investigating the action of the police to determine whether or not the actions were legitimate or whether the force used was proportionate? We got to find out. Police can just carry on an action and leave from there, and that's the end. And somebody have a press conference, they say, protester behave like this, and that's the end of the entire subject. No, this is not being a civilized society. People take advantage of the limitation of the society to exploit the society. The police need to be investigated. We need to find out how this entire instruction came about. Well, we can find out to see whether it was balanced or excessive force was being used. We need independent body to go and conduct investigation. Even if it's an intender, there should be some credibility. But it doesn't happen. Police do things and nobody will checkmate them. Okay? Those are all practices in a tyrannic society. And that's why we're saying Labrador is gradually going down that road. Okay? We are now investigating to see so that we can, because the important in a civilized society, the reason why it's done, so they can have a real occurrence. You don't have the police going and misbehaving and see that a press conference or the statement made by the boss just settles the matter. No, it doesn't work that way in any civilized society. It only happens in these primitive jungle justice dictatorial countries. Okay, and we will not say to allow it to just go that way without being heard. We have to say it so that people in the international belt can understand not all librarians are dumbs. Okay? These things and the practices of this nature, where you have protesters going to exercise one of their fundamental rights given by the Constitution, then you have an institution that survives on the taxes being paid, is on the mandate of law, will institute an action that cannot be investigated to determine whether it was proportionate or it was excessive. And that calls for professional groupings. You see, when you see that you are at 5441 level in the education sector, say when you're ranking our educational sector among the universities in the world around, Liberia is at 5,441. So it tells you why you are way down the belt. And when you're looking at Africa, we are in almost 500 group. So you're talking about the best 400 universities in Africa. You can't even see any university in Liberia because the way we conduct ourselves, the way we respond to issues shows that an educated society cannot tolerate these kind of actions. So who have investigated the police to see whether excessive force was being used or proportionate force? Who? That makes this country terrible. Very terrible. And if you continue on having a society like that, this society will definitely be a wayward society because you have anarchy that will come in. People try to resist a lot of good effort that may come from the government simply because the bar one came out and was not evaluated properly. No, not even evaluated before properly. The next question we ask ourselves, if we are looking at whether this government is actually becoming a tyrannic government or autocratic government, then we ask the question: who voted the bills for lawmakers that were congregated at the RLJ Hotel for more than a month, and what legitimized the presence of the police at the Capitol ground during this saga? I told you, not everybody will just be foolish. No, it's not possible that everybody will just sit and accept everything that happened in this country to just go and unnoticed. It's not possible. We know African government, the big hands, the finances come from the executive branch of government. With the track record that we have on the Unity Party of putting out speaker, can we just easily say that the action by these so-called majority group at the RLJ place there was not being sponsored by the executive? Who conducts investigation to tell us something that we can rely on? Because in the absence of it, we just read from history, we say that it comes from the executive. Because even after that action, you see things that have been playing. There are the issue of the president of the police, the issue of the budget. You see the direction of the president. You see everything in support of the group that brought in a mutiny at the Capitol. The so-called majority group brought in mutiny, brought in rebellion, refused to sit on the speaker in a similar context on a law, but chose to resort to some unconventional attitudes, some unorthodox practices, a terrible society. And professional groups in the country, most of them kept that light. Well, because they don't want to be bothered with things that will damage the current status, that is damaging the prosperity of their children, their grandchildren, the future of this country, this messing up this country. Look, let me tell you this. Let me give you a scenario. Let me give you a story. There were 5 giants. There were 7 giants. They all had their kingdoms they were running. And after a couple of years, one of the giants came up and said to himself, he said, look, I need to control all the other giants. And he has hired some other guys to join him to attack the first giant. And when they attacked the first giant, if the giant that was the 6th giant, the 6th giant called the remaining 5 and tell him, say, look, my man, you can't give me help. And if you could help, our 7th giant here is attacking me with another people to overtake my territory. The 5 other giants, they said, I mean, you able to fight, man. Come on. You are a giant. Another man. And they did nothing. The 7th giant overtook the 6th giant with the help of others, allied, and the entire environment have only 6. They never bother. They did not take into consideration that an evil in the quarter that is not resolved becomes a threat to every other environment. After a while, the same giant saw it prudent to take the next, and he did it to the 5th. The remaining 4 said the guy was strong. He was a giant. He could make it on his own. But to keep the story short, in no time, the 7th giant managed to overtake 4 others. So it means that only 2 giants left. When they noticed it before they could come to take action, to join to fight this evil, it was too late. Because this guy was about 5 giants strong. What am I saying? Every time something wrong takes place, and you said because it's not directly affecting you according to your calculation or understanding, and you allow it to exist, it means that you are tolerating something that will haunt you or your kids or your family or your children in the nearer future. And that is something that is happening in this country. When something wrong is taking place, We accept it. If these guys can circumvent the law, remember that as long as we keep tolerating it up there, it happened in the lower courts, it happened in the police station, it happened in the offices. You have bad practices going on because we don't stand up for anything to change. And I will tell you a lot of witnesses that point that show that indeed this country is a weak country and needs a strong radical nationalist to transform the society, because both the government and its citizens are terribly weak. Those of you who have had opportunity to leave this country to go out, you will see how citizens conduct themselves. The same group of guys who are the hooligans here, when they leave this country, they go to other country, they conduct themselves better. But when you come back to this country, the country is weak. Citizen weak. So corrupt officials of government exploit such situation. Because even the people who elect these criminals will be defending those criminals when the criminals are stealing from them, or stealing from the state. So look at this question we are asking. Number 5. Was the manner and fashion in which the LP announced the citing of the lawmakers, the COFA group, to appear, was it appropriate? We heard some other media saying that the police ordered the arrest of the speaker and XYZ and all kind of crap. Was this action appropriate? If you want to straighten this country up, if you want to see things right as citizens, take out the garment of your partisanship and put it one side. People love parties that favor political party than this country. But the same people are crying that the country is not moving forward. The same way God should not come second to anything, the same way the interest of your country should never ever come second to any party or individual. But we tolerate these things so much, and it is haunting us over 177 years. You can't learn, you can't make change. There is something very, very fundamental about our connecting ability as a country. Something very, very fundamental about our connecting ability as a country. Lastly, in our questions box, we ask, where is the society in all of these? Where's the labyrinth society? Where are the professionals? Where are the educated class? Where are the traditionalists? Where are these intellectuals? Where is the society in all this? Are labyrinth terribly limited, not knowing what to do in all these? Answer these questions. Does this country have professional groups, permanent individual personalities, reliable religious groups, or the society is just polarized, divided, individualistic? Where are we? The Supreme Court ruling of ambiguity is still creating lots of chaotic scene in the country. There are growing civil disobedience, plain protests, contention in communities, and a lot of counterproductive actions that will undermine the peace and stability of this country continue to exist due to the kind of ruling that came out of the Supreme Court. Where is the Supreme Court now? As academicians, we believe that by now the Supreme Court should have given some clarity, provide additional information, so that the educated class and those in the perimeter of education can learn. The society can learn. But right now, we don't know that whether if you circumvent the law, it is right or wrong. Whether a group of guys can just jump out of the appropriate environment for meeting without following the rules and boot out a legitimate speaker, it's a right practice. We need to know. And let me tell you, nobody should fool any Librarians to tell them, say, it is a political environment. That place is a legal environment. Anybody can be called politician. Anybody can practice politics. But that place is for lawmaking. So we call them lawmakers. Politics, they are general saying. Anybody, even in your various schools and churches and communities, town halls, I know how tiny places, you can do politics. Politics everywhere. Everywhere. Philosophers say that member nature is a political animal. So politics everywhere. But in a given environment, there is certain conduct of behavior is required. And certain things defines how you conduct yourself. So yes, you have a 52.4% of your society elected. So you make them to feel, even those that even have credentials, you make them to feel that it's a political terrain. So politics will take precedence over law. It is only in a barbaric, tyrannic society, an illiterate, extremely illiterate society, it works. Because it is only the law that defines the conduct of your politics. The philosopher of politics will never ever tell you that the politics, your ideas, your feelings will supersede the law. It doesn't work. Our philosophy of governance, it doesn't work. So where you society, this country, where you can tell you on this one? That is a political terrain, and so you expect to subvert law to individual desire? Who measures individual desire? It's the law. Who measures your talk, your pattern? It's the law. Who measures how you conduct yourself? It's the law. What do they call it? Lawmaker? It's the law. That's the reason why they are being ascribed with that title, honorable, because laws makers are honorable people. But if lawmakers can practice mutiny and try to fool the society with the philosophy of stupidity, because it doesn't have bearing, it has no theory, except honor tyrannism. It has no theory, except maybe honor autocracy or autocratic practices. It has no bearing. Which approach or laws can you put that on? Because as wide, rare as I am, there is no philosophical theory that supports that practice. Besides things then that were practiced by Machiavellis and all those terrains. Again, the word look out and you just take everybody to be stupid. It's a political environment. Politics is measured. In order for you to vote, there will be a law that permits you to vote. You don't get to vote because you desire it. You say politics. No. Even political parties are under laws. They have rules. They have regulations. There must be laws. You must follow. So when somebody feel that today I can be party chairman, can I join become party chairman in politics? No. Every political party has set standards. So the House, the lawmakers, they have set standards that must be adhered to the fullest. But because we have a bad society, a terrible society, so you consider the entire country to be a bad generation. tolerates things that they should not even accept in the first place. The whole country sat down and group of guys went and congregated themselves in a local hotel for months, and the company could not do anything. Because the guys feel that by the time they tell you something, let them talk. They tell you something, they go and start arguing among yourself. You are now an independent thinker. When will you ever be what you need to be? You can follow us up on our Deep National Hour Facebook page. That is the DEEP National Hour Facebook page. I'm Dr. Ibrahim Dassama the first. I'm the Executive Director. And today we are looking at this country gradually becoming a tyrannic state, an autocratic country. It is vital that the Supreme Court comes back and remove the ambiguous nature its ruling has created in the labyrinth society. It is important. On the other hand, hearing that the government, through the national police, the Liberian National Police, order the arrest of certain lawmaker was a step too far in tyrannism. It was too far. There are things you can do as professionals. The police should have been more intelligent, respectful, under the context of law, and that professional conduct to invite the presence of those lawmakers of interest to the crime concerning the burning of the Capitol. Look, let me tell you this. If you think you can go to court and win a case because someone says something, and out of, in few time it comes to pass, and you think you can win case, you gotta rethink. Rethink. Look, this is not a primitive society. You should have hard evidence. The statement may be tolerated. I know you say terroristic threat and other things. You can say it. Yes. It's terroristic. We accept it. But there's not an evidence of proof. No wonder why government, lawyers can go to court and just lose the cases. If the government lost the case, government lost the case. Because you bring in sentiments, then bring in the power of the intellect. You can't use that thing to prosecute people and you think you'll win. You can't win that. You need strong, convincing evidence against those guys. So before you treat them and conduct yourself in a way and fight and say that this country has no moral, no decency, no respect for offices, the police itself should have conducted itself better. Yes. But it's unfortunate in our society, this dispensation. You have a complete immoral state. Nobody respects anybody. And the government is also practicing the same. Look, no matter how much you don't love the speaker, the law compels you to do so. I don't know the speaker, but the law compels me to respect that office because that office is not about the individual who sits in that office. It's about the country, it's about the constitution, it's about the law. We gotta behave like decent people if we want others to respect us out there. So to say that I will burn this building, can burn be interpreted in one way? Can you? I will burn this building. That word can be interpreted in many contexts. It could be metaphorical, figurative, literate, philosophical, psychological. You know, have you heard song, we put the house on fire, party, this and that? Look, before you go to court or start charging people or labeling them on things, you gotta be careful. The action was terrible. But professionals will always respond to things in a very far more mature way. That's how professionals behave. You don't mean sentimental. You rush into things and at the end of the day, you lost. The same way. Asset recovery. Rush into it, it turns into a mess. Yellow machine, rush into it, it turns into a mess. Bosses, rush into it, it turns into a mess. You can't do that. That's the incompetent nature of this government. We are talking about this government being completely incompetent. Then you are also interwoven it with the rented practices, downplaying the rule of law. It's terrible in 1 year. It's too much for 1 year. It's too much. And the society accepts it because the society is poorly built. You can try that in any educated society. It won't work there. It won't work there for even a day. It won't. So that statement that was made by that representative is terrible, but it's not sufficient. I can support a lawmaker to make such derogatory statement, but equally so, I can use that statement to carry into court. That's the reason why in educated countries, the person who makes such a statement could be considered a person of interest. He or she will be accorded due process. His or her right will never be removed until there are overwhelming evidence to substantiate connection, which will lead to litigation. As simple as that. But it's only complicated minds can do it. But you feel that the society loves sentiment, so you bring out things that will be happy. And at the end of the day, you know it can go nowhere legalistically. It can go nowhere. The NMP should have employed intelligence. But you can't incarcerate people for looking at crap or issue statement of arrest for those people, and then at the end of the day, you know you can't win that kind of case in court. It's just being sentimental. If the government is not careful with such statement and immaturely choosing to use such statement by the lawmaker in court to think that they will win, then they need to rethink. You don't use sentiment in court. You must use strong, logical evidence in court to win cases. To tell you that this country is still in an illiterate state, to see people in an age of science and technology, government ministry and agency do not even have simple technology. Simple technology. The CCTV or the CC camera or whatever thing to be able to track information after 177 years. Disgusting. So disgraceful and primitive that Africa's oldest city cannot produce a video on what occurred simply because it is one of the those villages that they get town hall there. So no camera, no video camera to monitor movements and other things. So terrible. Lawmakers are receiving thousands of dollars as salaries and office operation, but can modernize the Capitol building. Currently, the Capitol building does not even have a standard bathroom system. Currently, at this time of science and technology, for you to go to the Capitol building and you see barrels and buckets and containers bringing water in, doing other things, and people urinating all around the building, man. And people are carrying $45,000 for owning vehicles and all kind of stuff. It tells you that this country is actually a primitive country. Because if the society itself was civilized enough, was educated enough, they would have stopped these lawmakers from getting all this money and doing nothing to show that this country is improving. Okay? Even in their own session, that you should think that everybody should be there with microphone and molding equipment for conversation during the time of that sessions. Go see them moving mics around. Let's say there's no money in the country to standardize that particular setting. People don't concern about you. They don't. It's all about themselves. How they empower themselves. So one group of legislators coming to another group, they can't even modernize or standardize their own sitting to represent a nation that has pride. It's so bad. If your bidding becomes good, then it means you got our friendly countries, donors to kind of help you. If your bidding is printed, maybe China, America, or this place you come print it. So you need mark again for your place again. You need another country to come. Again, can do it. You need a reliable water system in your bathroom. You need another country to come do it. It's the kind of funny group of people we have as lawmakers. You can't do that. Your own integrity. That's the reason why you took out the garment of lawmaker and put it down. The one that have no measurement, you say politician. You go over there, you want to carry the kind of policies and put away laws. Even the budget they talk about passing is intended to turn into law. Okay? So we have a lot of things to discuss concerning this particular topic. But for the purpose of time, we want to scale down and we'll come back here. We'll be on your platform every Friday at 5 p.m. and every Saturday at 9 p.m. So Saturdays, I'll be here at 9 p.m. Fridays, I'll be here at 5 p.m. This country must change. The only people that can change this country are those listening and those who may not be, but people who are prepared that this country must not stop or end where it is. If we see a problem, we should be prepared to change that particular problem. What good it is if you always talk about your problem and have no time to change it. Okay? To get in touch with us, you can call the following numbers: 0776 237 633, 0776 237 633, and then 0888 975 038. So again, I'm Dr. Abraham Dassama. First, I'm the Executive Director of the Democracy Empowerment for Economic Progress, DEEP. DEEP is a civil rights nationalistic organization propagating the true sense of nationalism and the call to national duty. Until we meet again, I want to say bravo. And as we climax this year and walking up to our new year, we say Happy New Year. We will meet again tomorrow by which is next year, 2020. 25. So we'll be here every Friday, 5, and every Saturday, 9. Thank you for joining us. God bless you again. I'm Dr. Ibrahim Dassama, Sellu the Price, a nationally and executive director of DEEP. Thank you very much.